bloody middle. Keep spread out. And a corporal with a bleeding furrow across his temple propped against a bank, shouting, "Go and get 'em, Maras!" and starting to sing John Peel. And little Nixon making his usual philosophic remark that we'd all get killed and he didn't want to die Tojo's way. And someone falling down a well and having to be pulled out. And it ended with a hectic charge to a wrecked railway line, and we caught them in the open on the other side, and I was kneeling, sodden and steaming, with little Nick beside me, shooting and humming under his breath and remarking, "You're firing low and left, Jock. That's it. Get that bugger. He's nobbut wounded." 1,100 Japanese died in that battle. The official history records the fact but doesn't tell you how. I wrote the above, or something like it, as a book review 25 years ago, which was 20 years after it happened. It is ancient history now, and war and attitudes to war have changed so much that you may wonder if it's worth returning to so late in the day. But I think it is those changes, really, that make it worthwhile. After all, if mankind is lucky, it may be that the end of the Burma campaign was the last great battle in the last great war. And even if it wasn't, it may still be worth remembering from an ordinary foot soldier's point of view, for it is a story of an army the like of which had not been seen, in Churchill's words, since Xerxes crossed the Hellespont. A huge foreign legion of what Attlee called the scrapings of the barrel, from half the nations under the sun, fighting under one of the great captains in mountain, jungle, and dry plain, in hot sun and drenching monsoon, and inflicting on one of the great warrior races its most crushing defeat. That is my reason for writing, not a history, for that has been done better than I could do it, or even a coherent, detailed narrative, for I haven't got that kind of memory, but simply what I know and remember of the Burma War. Looking back over 60-odd years, life is like a piece of string with knots in it, the knots being those moments that live in the mind forever, and the intervals being hazy, half-recalled times, when I have a fair idea of what was happening in a general way, but cannot be sure of dates or places, or even the exact order in which events took place. I suspect it is the same with most folk, although I am often astonished, and suspicious being an old newspaper man, at the orderliness with which some can trace a continuous thread of recollection. In my case, there are coloured strips of film at each knot of memory, and in between many rather grainy sequences which can be made out only with difficulty, and in some cases the print is spoiled or even undeveloped. To give an example, I have the most vivid recollection of my first encounter with an angry Japanese, and the immediately preceding and succeeding events, but I have only the vaguest idea of where and when that momentous encounter took place. I do not know what day General Slim visited us when we were holding Meiktila, or whether the lake shore on which he stood was the northern or southern one, but I see him clear, with that robber baron face under the Gurkha hat, and his carbine slung, looking like a rather scruffy private with a general's tabs, which of course is what he was. I don't know from which point of the compass we attacked Piobwe, because it didn't matter to me, but I know what happened there. I could not come within weeks of naming the day when our canoe foundered in a tributary of the Sitang, which was also the day we picked up the section's first Jap prisoner, and Forster stole his watch. I don't even know where I was on VJ Day, and if it seems remarkable that I am unaware of these things, I must emphasize that at private soldier level you frequently have no idea where you are, or precisely how you got there, let alone why. Had I been an officer, my memories would be very different. I discovered this a year or two later as a subaltern in a Highland regiment in the Middle East. The whole chronology of that time is clear and connected, possibly because an officer's concerns cannot be the selfish ones of a private soldier, who need not look beyond himself and his mates. An officer, even a subaltern, must at least know where he is and have a broader picture of what is happening. Well, more or less. Certain matters have become clearer to me in the course of writing, because I've had recourse to written histories of the war. I had a rough idea when we attacked the place I call the Temple Wood, and ran into rifle and machine gun fire, which took out a third of the section in a matter of seconds, why we were doing it. But now I understand the overall plan, of which that attack was a small part. I remember vividly the free-for-all battle when we finally got into the wood, but only now do I learn that during it we killed 136 Japanese. I understand...